Evaluating the Beck Youth Inventory 2. The Beck Youth Inventory, or BYI-2, was created to measure children and adolescents aged 7 through 18 level of emotional, behavioral, and psychological problems and self-concept. The assessment is used worldwide by psychologists and other health professionals. The Beck Youth Inventory questionnaire is used to describe the incidences of symptoms of depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem. The BYI was first published in 2005, and the authors were Judith Beck, Aaron Beck, and John Jolly. The original Beck Youth Inventory was called the Beck Youth Inventories of Emotional and Social Impairment and was created in 2001. The Beck Youth Inventory 2 is norm reference. The instrument measures the child or adolescent's emotional and social impairment in 5 areas: depression, anxiety, anger, disruptive behavior, and self-concept. The 5 inventories each contain 20 questions about thoughts, feelings, and behaviors associated with emotional and social impairment in youth, children, and adolescents. Describe how frequently the statement has been true for them for the past 2 weeks, including today. Practical and administration evaluation. According to the authors, the rationale behind the BYI-2 is the assessment is easy to use. The assessment has the ability to address comorbidity questions while assessing individual areas of concern. Addition of psychometrical sound assessment of anger and disruptive behavior. And finally, the norm sampling reflects the United States, including United States Census, including white, African American, Hispanic, and other, from both urban and rural settings across the United States. All 5 inventories of the BYI-2 can be administered altogether, individually, or grouped. For example, just taking the depression, anxiety, and self-concept inventory. Each inventory has 20 questions that take 5 to 10 minutes to complete for a total administration of 30 minutes. The assessment should be given by a professional or under a professional supervision. Ease of administration depends on the ability of the child, including their age, their reading ability, and mental status. Both small group and individual administration are possible in school, outpatient mental health, and residential inpatient settings. However, small group testing would be more difficult to monitor than assessing a single child. Also, it is important to note that authors advise that individuals have privacy, preferably without their friends or relatives around, to encourage honest responses. The manual says this assessment can be self-administered. However, to ensure valid results regardless of the age, an adult with a positive rapport with the test taker should be present to ensure the adolescent and or child is able, willing, and motivated to participate. The ideal administration of the BYI-2 would be testing an individual student in a secluded area for privacy reasons. The record form is well designed and user-friendly. The directions on the questionnaire are printed on each page. Each inventory consists of 20 statements, and a statement would be, an example of a statement might be, I have trouble sleeping. Then the children rate according to the frequency with which that statement is applied to them. 0 being never, 1 sometimes, 2 often, 3 always. Scoring is straightforward with raw scores tabulated as the total of the ratings for each inventory and then converted to a T-score with a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 10 for each sex using one of the age-based conversion tables. Technical evaluation. Strong psychometric properties have been reported for the BYI-2, including good internal consistency, 0.86 to 0.96, retest reliability, 0.74 to 0.93, and validity. It has been used extensively in research with both developing and chronically ill populations, and it has an internal consistency coefficient range from 0.91 to 0.96 for the age group of 15 through 18 for all 5 scales, and a convergent validity measure of 0.72. A brief review of literature that I studied using the Beck Youth Inventory were 3 studies that looked into the mental well-being of children with severe reading disabilities, children and adolescents with brain injuries, and children and adolescents with HIV/AIDS. Out of the 3 studies using the Beck Inventory 1 and 2, indicated levels of emotional behavior and psychological problems. 1 out of 3 of those studies indicated problems. All 3 groups were predicted to have some degree of emotional behavior and psychological problem. One reason for this may be how the test was administered, and maybe an overarching weakness for the BYI-2. The testing manual says the test should be administered by a professional or by a by a person supervised by a professional. The manual also states that the test can be self-administered or read out loud to the test taker. In the studies involving traumatic brain injuries and HIV, it did not give a thorough explanation of how the test was administered, only that it was administered to the students. So my question is was the questionnaire read to the participants or self-reported? Did the students understand what was being asked of them? Children need to understand vocabulary concerning words that explain emotions and thoughts. And then, are the children able to self-reflect? To be able to self-reflect how one feels requires a certain phase of cognitive development. There are many strengths with the Beck Youth Inventory 2 when paired with other assessments. One possible strength is all 5 inventories only take 30 to 60 minutes to complete. The test can be used in multiple settings. The scoring is straightforward and quick. In the school counseling and counseling field, the BYI-2 would be an excellent screener for students that were at a Tier 2 level when responding to interventions, allowing counselors and therapists to quickly identify students in need so that the healing process can begin. Here are my references. Thank you so much.